Good afternoon, everyone. We get it. AI is everything. It's non-negotiable. That's not what we're here to talk about. The real question is, what gives? There are so many different questions that we're all grappling with. We know AI is here to stay, and I know that everyone in this room, bar none, is having some bet or the other on AI. So you are betting big. But then, there are so many other questions to answer. What are you prioritizing? What are you deprioritizing? Take technology. You have a big, large technology stack that you have, which you got to modernize. But are you willing to break it? And what gives? That works right now. So what are you going to do? We spoke about talent. We spoke about having agentic co-workers. Are you willing to risk having agentic workforce and then looking at what happens to that to your culture? What would you do? You'd love to innovate, also want to have control. How does all this work? Funding. We'd love to talk about funding, don't we? Right? There are so many different questions that the technology leaders of today are grappling with. Today, I'd love to have three leaders over here, three very eminent leaders. I'd love to welcome, come on in. We got Sunil Cutinho, who's the CIO of the CME Group. Please come on in, Sunil. We got Colin Bodell, CTO of Bazaarvoice. Have the lovely privilege of working with them. And we got Khal Rai, who's the CTO and president of ABC Fitness. Now, none of these leaders are actually saying that they know all the answers. They don't pretend to say they know everything. Please do take your seats.
Thank you.
They are actually changing the wheels of the car, the engine of the car, while the car is still in motion, right? But here what we're going to do is to talk about what's working for you, what's not working for you, what are you still figuring out? And those are the questions that are most relevant today, right? And that they're not here to share best practices, they are here to share what we are calling as next practices, right? And we're going to do this a little differently. First, I'm going to ask each of you to come up and just simply talk about what's on top of their mind? What are they thinking about? What's keeping them awake? What's keeping them excited about what's coming up over here? So we'll talk about that first. Each of you, just 3 minutes each, very quickly, and then we'll jump right into it, right? Can't get more excited to dive right into it, all right? All right, Sunil, it's over to you first. What's keeping you awake? What's keeping you excited?
Well, I sleep well.
I'm sure.
There's nothing keeping me awake. So for most of you, I don't know if you're aware of CME. We are exchange, a marketplace, a risk management platform. So typically we say CME is where the world comes to manage risk. So people all around the world, even here in India, actually trade on our markets. We have about 3 key priorities. The first one is mostly about global distribution and simplicity of access to our services. The second is to reduce the cost of innovation and time to market for products. And the third is about insights, faster insights. You'll see AI missing there because we don't see it as a priority distinct from these 3. It's a tool to achieve any of these 3 outcomes. So with that, I'll yield my time and I'll pass it to
Khal for next.
To Khal.
Right? Thank you, Sunil. I love the when you say CME is the world where the world comes to manage risk, right? Which is awesome. Khal, you are in the fitness industry, right? And that's something which we're all passionate about, apart from AI. So there you go. Over to you.
Hey everybody, KP, thank you for having me. So we are a fitness provider, global solution provider in the fitness industry. What does that really mean? So we do 3 things for our customers. If you're operating a fitness club or a studio, so we give you the software to run it. We do payment collection and revenue cycle management for everything that has to do with fitness. So think of every dollar spent in a studio, in a club, we process that. We do about $12, $13 billion a year in that. And we're also a turnkey solution in terms of we operate call centers and tech support center to support the industry. So why am I sharing all this with you? Think about the potential of AI disrupting or improving all 3 elements of what we do. And the best way to describe how we're thinking about it, I think what's unique about AI than any other technology we all know about. So I started my career at GE, so I'll give you an example. Thomas Edison invented the light bulb in late 1800. Even then, you could imagine what is the potential of the light bulb. Every house has a light bulb. Every manufacturing, and cars eventually had. You could imagine the potential of the light bulb. We sit here, can someone project what is the ceiling on AI? Right? It's so difficult to project, and that's why I think you got to be careful not to kind of lay ahead and treat the technology as if, hey, what does the steady state of AI look like? So instead, what we're thinking about is, what are some of the system of decisions you need to put in place to take advantage of AI? People implication, tooling, governance, product, strategy, and obviously business performance. So that's kind of how we're thinking about it, is what are the framework by which you adopt AI rather than trying to define what AI is going to do for us, because it's self-improving. It's going to be different tomorrow. So that's how we're thinking about it.
Thank you, Khal. That set the context really well in terms of how you're looking at the AI adoption framework and what you mean. Colin, over to you.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for having me. In 1995, I had the pleasure of being a VP of engineering for one of the first ever companies, AI companies that went public. And in those days, we were using a Symbolics Lisp machine. Is anybody old enough in the audience to remember those things? And it state of the art at the time, but slow by today's comparison. And when you think about what was going on then in 95 to now, the speed of processors of cloud computing has gone up just significantly orders of magnitude more. And the Industrial Revolution in England hundreds of years ago took generations to occur. The AI revolution is not counted in terms of generations. It's not even counted in terms of decades. It's weeks or months. So if I could offer just two truths, or personal truths, this is one of them. And you've had a chance to quickly read this thing through. Dave Farley's a luminary in software engineering. But if you take out the words software engineers or engineers from this, you can put in HR, you can put in product management, operations, business, sales, whatever role, whatever department you can fit in here. It's not about working harder, it's about working smarter. And folks, we're going to see the really bright thinkers get separated from the doers very, very quickly. The other truth that I feel very strongly about is, if you look over there to the side of the room, you'll see a train leaving the station. And some of you and your teams and your companies are on that train today. Some of you are running fast behind the train and going to jump on the train. And some of you are standing on the platform, and your teams are standing on the platform watching the train go into the distance. That train is the AI train, and it's on a journey to professional and personal success, not just within the current company you're in today, but through the extent of your career. And if you're on that train, you're beginning to or have habitualized the use of AI in your organization. You do it day in and day out, such that if it was taken away from you, you would be orders of magnitude less efficient. The people running behind it know they need to be on that train, and they're running as fast as they can to jump on. But the train is accelerating so fast, some are going to go left behind. And the people on the platform are absolutely already left behind. And this is not measured again in decades. This is measured in months. And if you're not on the train, and if you're not running fast and about to catch up, that train will be gone forever. And it will damage your professional life today, and it will inhibit the growth of your career in the future. And it's not a carrot or a stick. It's a carrot and a truth. This will happen. And you have the opportunity to choose. Do you want to be on the train, running to catch up, or on the platform, being destined to go home?
Thank you. If you asked Dali to paint that picture, you would almost have a train and a whole bunch of people running behind it to catch it, right? And that's how I look at it in the classic Indian platform context. That would be great. Yeah. Now, so I'll start off with a very open question to each of you, and any of you could pick that up and take it. What's the boldest bet? And in this session, we are not holding anything back, right? So what's the boldest bet that your organization is taking right now? That's one part of the question. But the bigger part of the question is, what is the trade-off that you're actually having to make that bet come right? Colin, do you want to go?
Yeah. I think the boldest bet for us is whenever
a team or an organization is presented with something that's radically different. The message I tend to hear is, we don't have time to do it. We're busy doing these other things. And I think the bold bets, the big decisions are, well, it's a statement which is, you don't have the time not to have the time. You've got to make the time to do it, which means that some of the things you're doing at the moment must be deprioritized. And they may be tactical benefits within the future of our business, but nevertheless, you're going to have to forego some of those to be able to get on the train. Because if you do those, that's akin to standing on the platform. So you'll get tactical success, but you're missing that bigger strategic opportunity. And getting into everybody's brain at all levels of the company, folks tend to hold on to that which they've been doing for a long time. And getting them to break that is a big challenge. But it's also, I believe, the big, bold bet and drive that any company needs to do.
Wonderful. I'm going to come back to that and actually ask you what those things that you're having to deprioritize are and make it real for us in terms of saying, we are prioritizing this, we are not prioritizing this.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, for us, it's about product feature development, it's about infrastructure, it's about architecture.
Yeah.
And all of this has got high value tactically. The other things have higher value strategically. And it's saying we've got to deprioritize some of our product features, deprioritize some of the refactoring of some of our architecture, and we know that is painful. And we have to talk to our clients, and we have to help them understand that we're doing it for not only our benefit, but especially their benefit for the long-term viability of their relationship with us. And generally they understand that, they get it. They don't like it necessarily, but they intellectually appreciate it.
Exactly. And your customers, on the other hand, is all about money and wealth and investments and risk, as you called it. So I think you're having to take even more considered decisions, right? So the risk versus the investments that you're taking are probably a little bit more considered. So how are you applying that thought process?
So I believe you made that statement in the context of AI.
That is correct.
Or something novel that comes through.
Correct.
Yeah. So traditional financial services firms are conservative, and for good reasons. You wouldn't want your bank or your investment broker to take significant risks with your money, right? So at the end of the day, I think many of these institutions have to be very careful how they take these small risks. So when you asked, or when you asked the question about a bold bet, and I was thinking about it as Colin was speaking, our bold bet was made in 2021, not now. We think that capital markets will change in significant ways, not in the way you see them operate, but in the way clients interact with them. So if you think about your favorite exchange, marketplace, or investment broker, many of them actually own the entire stack. So up all the way through to the data center. They have to operate them. They have to operate that infrastructure from the ground up. So a lot of us have grown up in this industry where significant investments have been made, and then the run costs are increasing. So we look at the world slightly differently. Or in 2021, it dawned on us that that's not how we differentiate ourselves. So compute itself is a commodity now. Storage is a commodity, right? Network is a commodity. So we don't differentiate ourselves from others by just doing these things better. We can't possibly do that. So the best thing that we could do is differentiate by offering services to our clients, making their interactions with our services much easier. Offering them newer products and insights. So the way we think of it is, rather than having to wait, let's say, 18 months or 24 months to take advantage of a strategy that you've done analysis on, because you have to buy the equipment, you have to get a group of engineers, along with the quants, we imagine a world where anybody with a computer can wake up, write code, deploy it in a market if they have capital,
Right.
and then take advantage of the strategy as quickly as possible. So reducing the time it takes from, let's say, years to days,
Perfect.
right? Because these opportunities are fleeting. The second thing is mostly around innovation. So if you go to a traditional financial services firm, every new idea, okay, unlike technology firms, where you have a lot of freedom, takes a lot of time. The incubation itself is in multiple years, product committees and all of that, and the costs run up to double-digit millions. So many firms actually give up. So that's why change is very slow in these firms. So we believe we need to bring that down, so to weeks or quarters. So we're trying to get there, and we believe that that's where the world would go. And the third piece is much more broader. It's not as traditional financial services firms. If you think of deriving insights, and you take 100% of the effort to actually get an insight from information, 80 to 85% of the time is spent collecting data, cleaning it up, and doing all the analytics before you can actually derive insights. We want to actually invert that so that it's quicker to derive insights.
Sure.
So that's the bet we are making. We are 3 years into this journey. And, we never expected to do this on our own. So we have partnered with Google to do this. And it's paying a lot of fruit right now. So it's given us the ability to actually adopt AI much faster than we would have 3 years ago.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Khal.
Yeah, very interesting. So I'll give you two bets. One kind of organizational, one on the business side. So we're betting on our people. All right. So what does that mean? On the talent. AI, and another thing that's unique to AI. So we're betting on this ground-up type adoption of AI because we have this belief, we all have seen it, right? The individual contributors, the folks that are on the ground, are kind of more fluent in AI than their managers and so on and so forth. So we're betting on that, and that's not easy because as transformational leaders, you want to come in, you want to set direction. Here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're not going to do. So we're really kind of allowing or forming these, POCs and structures to kind of promote kind of bottom-up, ground-up innovation. And really, what we see our role as leaders is set the direction, really set the boundaries around governance, when to use data, who owns the data. So allow for that, and really figure out the budget. And I can tell you, the budget discussion is not easy.
Yep.
There are research out there that's IBM put out recently a study on AI that companies should be spending up to, crazy numbers like 5 to 10% of revenue on AI. That's a big number for us.
Thankfully, they didn't say on IBM. Thankfully, they didn't say they need to spend that on IBM.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, exactly. It's a good point, Sunil. There are others that say, hey, 10-15% of operating budget should be on. But that's an interesting dynamic. But really, the business bet that I think, I'll give you a tangible example where AI is going to change the game for us. We made a bet, kind of like Sunil described, 3-4 years ago. So we were a financial kind of billing company that most of our customers were in the fitness industry. So we kind of did a study, and we did a kind of, hey, what should the next 10 years look like for us? Should we double down on fitness, or should we take our capabilities and go adjacent, right? You could do things in storage companies. Like there's a lot of things you could do in adjacent market. So we looked at the data, we looked at the market sizes, and we decided no, fitness is a $25 billion industry. We want to stay with it. So we decided to do that. We're a 40-year-old company, right? I always describe us as a 40-year-old startup. We have some old tech. And 2-3 years ago, some of the old tech, I'm ashamed to say it, but it's true, we have like bad designs, hard-coded UIs, and our thinking in order to go global, we got to refactor, we got to rebuild it. Now with AI, we're experimenting with putting the code in and say, produce the app in Portugal or Portuguese. And guess what? It's yielding.
It is?
So all of a sudden, it's really a bad habit because it's delaying the tech kind of retirement plan, but it's allowing us to go to the international market faster. So AI is actually helping us solve a problem that would have taken us 5 years to go solve in really temporary way, but hey, in a revenue-generating way. So we're able to go to market faster than we otherwise thought.
You know, that's, I want to change my answer.
Go for it.
I'm going to change my answer. No, because I love what you were saying about, you know, the bottoms up. So who's got kids? Kids. All right. How do kids learn? How do little kids learn? They play. Okay, we call that experimentation. They call it play. It's the same thing. And I think to your point, you set the, you know, leadership sets the vision, sets the objectives, and then let folks go and play. We had somebody in our company said, we're going to bring in, you know, a professional company to train everybody on AI. Well, first of all, they don't have any more knowledge about AI than you do, because certainly in its current incarnation, it's very similar. And honestly, do you want to sit in a room for an hour or for a day being lectured about AI? Or do you want to be given the tools and allowed to play and experiment? And, you know, it's tough when you're busy. That's where you've got to make those trade-offs to give people the time to do it or encourage them to take the time to do it. But let them play and experiment. Let them work collaboratively across teams, across the organization. Stand on the shoulders of the greatness that they come up with. And then go after the big, hard business problems we've set them. But let them do what they're good at doing, of innovative employees that are going to experiment and play, learn new techniques, and then dazzle us with their brilliance. And for me, it's once upon a time, certainly with software, we needed bricklayers, software developers, and we have an architect to define what the structure is going to look like. We've got bricklaying machines now. We don't need bricklayers anymore. We need those architects. And there's huge implication there about education, that earlier discussion about funding education. It's who we're funding, how we're encouraging them to develop, because I am becoming less needful of bricklayers, but I need much smarter, thoughtful architects.
Right. And it looks as if you're having fun doing all of this, right? Like it's almost have to, like, you know, I'm just playing with it and I'm like getting the Lego blocks into the hands of our developers or just building up stuff, and it's just not developable.
Yeah, I mean, it's not play for play's sake. I mean, there is a goal at the end of it, but you can explore different ways to get there rather than by doing things in a very rote factory way. It's a much more creative discipline. It's more artistry than it is software engineering.
That's right.
I agree with that, but one of the things that is important is critical thinking.
Right.
So I think it's related to the quote you presented, because, you know, common human nature is to be lazy and take it, apply it, and be successful. So small experiments where they can fail, you know, is super important to that learning process.
Right. And Khal, you were going to say something just now.
Sorry?
Were you just going to say something?
Well, I was going to say what you said originally also matters. How do you create the time? You got to throw away the old playbook and get management out of the way, because a lot of time we create more friction than we need to. So I think that's we could learn from that too. Is sometimes creating that freedom to innovate. Like hackathons are really like you need to create that mindset. Now everybody's maxed out at 110%, so you need to figure out a way to do that. That's easier said than done, I think.
That's exactly right. You almost said, like, get management out of the way and get it going. And I remember this point where we were speaking about talent and skilling, and we said, how do you skill the whole organization? And both of you went, no, that's not the way to do it. We've got to do it completely differently. And the skilling in the age of AI is a very different way in terms of how you want to do it. Do you want to talk about how do you get your workforce up and going?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's setting that vision, it's setting those goals. So we've said by the end of our fiscal year, this year, 100% of our engineers will be habitual users of agentic AI coding tools. So, you know, following Moore's model, we've already got plenty of the innovators, the early adopters. We're across the chasm. We've got the innovators and then across the chasm to the early adopters. And we know we'll get to the later adopters. And somebody said, well, what about the laggards?
The ones in the platform.
That won't be a problem because they won't be here.
Yeah.
If individuals either through inaction or choice decide not to get on board the train,
Right.
then we have no use for them. They are wonderful people, but they have no value at our business, and we will replace them with people that do get enthused of these tools. But there's got to be a lot of that self-motivation. And I think, the older days of these are the tasks we want you to do, I think are very rapidly changing to the establishment of the vision, the provision of the tools, the support structure around it, and then off you go. And look, I remember the seminal Harvard Business Review article, it's going back 15 years, the difference between very successful companies and mediocre companies is not the quality of their decisions, it's the volume of their decisions.
Right.
And with rapid iterative experimentation and play, you're making faster decisions. Not all of them are going to be the right decision, but you will differentiate yourself as a business by making more decisions, learning from your mistakes, doubling down on your successes, and repeating over and over again, because it's still a brand new uncharted took. Everybody that's working with AI at the moment as a user is defining the future.
Yep.
It's not being defined for them. Be part of that journey. Don't wait for it to happen to you, because it'll be too late.
Totally, totally. All three of you have GCCs here. All of you have teams in here. All of you have a global operating model where you're working with teams over here and you have teams out there and you have global customers as well. Everyone out here are also GCCs, like leaders who have come in from various centers in India. What's your message to the GCC? What do you think they will be able to do? Do you see them as an integral fabric? Do you see them as part of the journey? Where do you think they are? And if you had to send a message out, not just to your center, but to everyone out there, what would that be?
So, I don't typically use the word GCC.
I agree.
You stole the words out of my mouth. It's almost pejorative.
Perfect. All of us are on that boat right now.
It's an office on equal footing with our other offices, including our main office in Chicago. Actually, in many ways, our office here has been leading our transformation.
Mm-hmm.
I use this analogy quite a bit. We have people living in the building, and you have to change the foundation. And that's what they've been doing. And they've been quite successful over these 3 years. Now, when it comes to new technology, when it comes to using, let's say, generative AI for coding, we have 50% of our office here actually using it. And we are likely to see the rest 50% use it in the next 6 months. So that's what we see. Going back a little bit to your question before, I feel that, at least from our experience, we are early in this game. Specialized knowledge is getting more accessible. So you would have, typically in a traditional technology organization, you would have database administrators, then you have Unix administrators, system administrators, then you have the generic group developers, right? And typically the guys who are, shared, quote unquote, shared services, they are less concerned about the problem, the business problem that you're solving, and they're removed from it, and mostly the software developers are focused on that. They're more closer to it. The bigger change that we see now, and it's making it easier with AI, is that we are taking all our engineers as close to the business problem as possible. We are making specialized knowledge easily accessible.
Right.
That doesn't mean that we are replacing them, but we are making T-skills more easily available than they were before. Because to set up an organization like that, you would have to actually reskill your people and things like that. We don't see that. We see this training mechanism we see AI as a way to get there.
Absolutely. I'm hearing the T skills even more and more, understanding the entire big picture, but then having deep specialization in areas of those and building those skills being important. Khal, I thought you were going to say something.
Yeah, we're recent. So one, I'll say thank you to Zinnov. True story. Our board gave us a decision to open in India last September. We started working with KP and team January 1st. We are now up and running in Hyderabad, 150 plus people. Like, amazing. Thank you. And then, but we treat it as an office, exactly what you said. 150 people, 100 engineers, 50 other functions, so treat it in an office like any other office. And really taken back to the AI component, every function has to embrace AI. Like that's the philosophy that we had. I was just coming here, we stopped by, we had an operating review yesterday. And every group was talking about the role of AI in improving the way they operate. Because AI is two things. You could be in the business of AI. So we, in our product line, there are capabilities that would not have been possible without AI. Personalization. So it's very important in our industry to figure out what's the best time to bill a member, someone who's paying for fitness. Today, we run at historical norm. Fridays are the best. Let's look at the day. Gone are those days. What's the best day for KP? Because KP is a gig worker and he gets paid every other randomly depending on the gig that he's working on. Let's pick the best time to bill KP, right? Let's not figure out is it Monday or Tuesday. So those are the product stuff, but the operational component, like how do you get your job done faster, is a key decision, key element of how we operate. And what are one of the pillars of the system of decision is people and talent. We say every decision we make in AI, we say what is the impact on people?
Right.
Are we augmenting the role? Are we transforming the role? Are we automating out the role? I think we have to make intentional decisions. And we're fortunate to be growing, so we tell our people, don't worry about you not having a role with the company, but your role may morph into something else. But that's key for
Perfect.
us. And
thank you.
So let me jump on the third it's just an office.
Yes.
And honestly, we don't differentiate it. Offices in the US, 99% of my engineering resource is not in the United States, but that's where our largest market is. It's in the UK, and it is by far here. But it's not a GCC, it's an office. And it owns everything. Each office owns everything top to bottom.
Right.
It's not units of work, it's owning products and capabilities. And just a quick story about that. Last trip across was with Srini, set up the office 5 years ago. It's now incredibly successful. And we had an engineer come in and give me a demo using some AI capabilities, just blew my mind.
Right.
And I said to this fellow, how long have you worked here? I was thinking he's a staff engineer, maybe 7 or 8 years. And everybody in the room just laughed. He was a fresher.
Wow.
We'd only hired him a couple of months ago, but he'd been given the tools, the opportunity to drive. We've removed all constraints and let really smart people do things we could never have dreamt of ourselves. And to me, that's the definition of success for these offices, is give them the freedom, some support, but the freedom, and put them in touch with clients. Our staff here now talk to our customers around the world, and it's just those relationships have helped so much.
Awesome. So something's wrong with the timer here. It says time's up. So that I didn't see that going.
No, we'll just go for another round. Come on, let's go.
We certainly can. No, what we did, without actually telling you so much, was something quite scary. What we did was actually record your initial 3 minutes, what you just spoke. We put that into ChatGPT, right? And we actually asked the question, okay, so what are you getting out of this? Are there any similarities? Are there any common threads? But most importantly, from that, what does ChatGPT say is the biggest takeaway for the audience over here? I have no clue what it's going to say, and why don't you put it up? All right, let's see what it says. Right. The first takeaway, it says that focus on outcomes, not buzzwords.
Oh, we have a screen there.
We got right here. All right.
Yeah, I can see that.
Except I can't read it. Well, it's already driving faster to market, simpler access, and sharper insights, which is awesome. So I think that's basically what it is. We talk a lot about AI. I think now what it's saying is it's really the time for action for us to take that away, and that's common across all of what you just said, which is great. But aligning it with governance, product, strategy, and talent, bold moves need solid foundations. And if I had to pick just one sentence out of that, that'll be it, right? That's an awesome takeaway. Huge potential, but then somebody just said, changing potential energy to kinetic energy is all what it's all about. So then now we talk about time for action and talk about aligning with governance, strategy, talent, bold moves is what we need. Amplifies it, but it doesn't fix it, right? you know what, I'm actually crediting ChatGPT for that. This morning, we had a discussion about, is ChatGPT saying the right things and how does it interact with us? But it nailed that, right? It absolutely nailed it to say it amplifies things, it doesn't fix it. We need clear logic, we need engineering, and it can get you to the wrong answer faster, so we need us to make sure it gets you to the right answer faster. It's been brilliant. It's an awesome session. Thank you so much for enlightening us. We could keep going, but as you said, what you just said, I think you just really got what needs to get everybody going over here.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, it's great. I really enjoyed it. Yeah,
thank you for having me.
Thanks, guys.
Wonderful.
All right.
Wonderful. Let's get in it.